What's up, y'all? I'm sitting in my room thinking out loud, and so I'm gonna respond. So the brilliant, be ye not confused, the brilliant Loretta Ross, one of the founding thinkers of reproductive justice, former executive director of Sister Song, brilliant author, writer, thinker, Black feminist. Has a piece out in the New York Times called "I'm a Black Feminist and I think call out culture is toxic." And I think Loretta, is right in a lot of ways. And I've had this conversation many times, and right now I'm having it again with myself as I sit in my room in New Zealand. And, Loretta's basic premise is that call out culture is counterproductive. That as in movements for social justice, that the intention, hopefully, is that we get to a more equitable and just world, right? And that call out culture is counterproductive to that. And I, on its foundation, agree with that premise. I think that Loretta is accurate. I do think that call out culture is not necessarily how we, is not the most strategic tool towards personal change. Let me not say that. Systemic change on a large level. I do think call-outs absolutely can facilitate personal change. Obviously, they're uncomfortable, but I don't think that they are completely useless. Here's where I think our challenge lies, is that we don't create distinction around the reasons why we are communicating. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, right, is the difference between call-in culture, call-out culture, and what I have been calling call-on culture, right? And so call-out culture, for me, the intention of calling someone out, the purpose of that communication is not necessarily for their betterment. Not always. Oftentimes, I'm communicating because I need to express that I've been harmed by a thing. That I need to let a person who has harmed me know that they've harmed me. And I'm not actually there in that communication to facilitate their change. I may want their change, or I may not. I might not be thinking about their change at all. Right then, I might be thinking about the fact that you did a thing that hurt. When I say ouch, because you stepped on my foot, I am not interested in, stopping you from stepping on foot forevermore. I'm interested in you getting the fuck off my foot in that moment, right? And so call out, I often see as the possibility of saying ouch loudly enough that someone can hear it and hopefully get off your foot in that moment. Call-in culture, for me, assumes a level of responsibility toward the education of the person. If I'm calling someone in, it's probably because I have an investment in their change. I have an investment in the ways in which they will move through the world. And my calling in is me saying, I am down to extend intimate engagement with you for the purpose of seeing you operate in a different way in the world, right? And for me, that's a function of relationship. I'm not interested in giving that level of investment to everybody in the world. I'm not an inexhaustible fount of compassion, particularly in a world of oppression. And so I'm reserved personally with who it is I engage in calling in, because I recognize that it takes emotional, energetic, and intellectual labor to call a person in. And so what I've been thinking about and talking about is the idea of calling on. I might call on you to be a better human being. I might call on you to shift your perspective for the purpose, because your perspective is counter to the just, equitable, and compassionate world it is I'm trying to bring about through my work. And I can call on you to be better without having to hold your hand through it, which is a call in, or without cussing you the fuck out, which is a call out, a clap back or whatever. I can state to you that you need to do better because what you're doing is harmful in the world. And I think we don't do enough of the calling on each other, right? Because calling on each other actually isn't about my positionality in the experience. Calling on each other is about centering the person's behavior as a behavior that needs to change in order for us to get to the world we say we want to live in. And so I think that all three of those live in the kaleidoscope of human communication that we all need. I think right now we're a little too far over here on the call out, cuss out side, because it doesn't get us where we want to be. But sometimes it's necessary. But again, as a long-term strategy, I don't think it is the most successful. I think falling all the way over to calling in really asks the most marginalized and harmed people to continue to do a tremendous amount of labor, oftentimes for other people. But when I call on someone, I'm actually giving the responsibility of education, of information, of learning, of perspectives change to that person. I'm not taking it on. I'm also not saying I don't care if you learn. I'm saying I am calling on you to do the work to be a better person. And I think that gives us both the short-term goal of mitigating, acknowledging that a harm has happened, and the long-term goal of systemic change through perspective shift and then structural change. So that's my thoughts. Y'all follow Loretta Ross. She's brilliant.